Here we go, another episode of Canada on the Rocks. I am your host, Fadi Kader, local realtor with Sun Group Ottawa. And today we are joined by one of my best friends, also my brother, Sarwar Qureshi. And this is specifically for Beyond Networking. We are talking everything about Beyond Networking. First of all, Sarwar, thank you so much for the coffee. Thank you for coming in. Really appreciate it. One of those interesting things that I really just want to kind of bring up as well, too. We've done this thing where we end up having friendship just a little outside.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like outside of the networking events, like you and I and Anmar and a few other people that always hang out.
Yeah.
And lately, a lot of the folks that came from Gaza, and we want to kind of mention that on the show just to kind of show, like at the end of the day, we're offering a community to people that possibly are coming in. They don't have a community.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is a great way to kind of know the lay of the land and really get help in all aspects. Like, you know, one of those ended up finding a job. We ended up, you know, getting them clothing and things like that. Like, there's just so much to do here. And I feel like we're never going to end up hitting the pinnacle.
Yeah, I have two quick stories on that. And to give the backstory, because Beyond Networking is a welcoming, open to all type of group, we certainly have seen an influx of this time of year, like what's happening right now. A lot of people are coming from Palestine, Gaza. You know, the people there are relocating. The people there are
and a bunch of
as refugees.
Lebanon as well too.
Lebanon as well. A couple years back, you know.
I'm bringing actually someone next event that came from Lebanon. It just like at the end of the day, it's just so much lately that's been happening, and I feel like Beyond has a lot to offer in that regard.
Well, as a open community to all, we definitely want people to feel welcome. And because we have existing people in the group that are from literally every aspect of the world or every, you know, area of the world, walk of life, like we have people of all shapes, sizes, colors, genders, you know, everything you can imagine. When someone new is coming and they see people that can, you know, speak their language, as an example, someone that looks like them, someone that can make them feel welcome, it's so important. Because if, let's, you know, say someone came, let's use a different example. Let's say someone came from Ukraine, because we had a lot of newcomers from Ukraine coming a few years back.
Yeah.
And they went to an event and they don't, let's say, speak great English and they speak Ukrainian, but there's no one at the event that speaks Ukrainian.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a difficulty for them to navigate. And of course, having people that speak Ukrainian that can help, you know, maybe break them into conversations or be a few contacts that they make from the event, that's great. And we want people, especially if they're newcomers, to not feel socially isolated. Like, it's tough being a new person in a new place, not knowing anybody. And there's so many things you got to figure out when you come here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you move somewhere, you got to figure out your job situation, your health card situation, your you know, your groceries and so many things. Like some people don't have cars. These are all things that we can help them and support each other on.
And like sometimes too, like for some people, it might just be like that level of friendship.
Mm-hmm.
You might not end up doing any business out of it. No problem. But at least you get to meet friends that are like, you know, running into the same sort of situation of life and things like that. One thing that you've been doing, and I wanted to kind of bring it up and hopefully give me a little bit of, shed some light on as well too. You've reached out to me, you've reached out to other people as well too in the group about being an ambassador.
Mm-hmm.
When someone comes that's new, we just basically kind of usher that person in, and they're literally like, I don't want to say babysitting, but in a way we're babysitting that person to get them introduced to multiple people in the group to break the ice.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit more about that.
Of course. One of the big challenges with networking is going to an event
where you don't know anybody.
You don't know anybody, and you're a little apprehensive and fearful on how to join and break into any conversation. You know, you're in a room, there's 60 people in the room, you don't know anyone, and people are in their little pockets, you know, 3 people here, 6 people here, 4 people here. And you're just kind of like, which pocket should I jump into? What should I say? Do I just join the pocket and stand there quietly until they say hi to me? Do I go in there and as soon as I go in there, I say, hello, my name is this? Like there's no right answer, or there's a number of different answers that you could have. But what I think helps is if you know someone and you go to the event with that person, you now have 2 people.
Mm-hmm.
And now, at the very least, if you're in a room full of no one that you know, you at least have almost like a safety blanket security blanket. You have this one person you can talk to, this one person that you can kind of lean on a little bit, and then tackle things together. You're not like on your own, because when you're on your own in a room, you feel awkward. You feel like people are looking at me. Why is this person not talking to anyone?
What do you mean? I love that.
Some people do, but a lot of people don't
do. But you have to be, and this is the thing. For a lot of people, it's that fear of unknown is massive, right? Like not everybody is able to just walk into a place and just be like, all right, I don't know anybody, but by the time I walk out, I'm going to know at least 50% of the people. Not everybody's
That's
like
a skill.
That is a skill, definitely, and it's learned over the years. But if you don't have it, this is a great way to tack on to that ambassador.
Yes.
And just say, hey, like, thank you so much for doing this. Show me around.
And what happened was, over the years with Beyond Networking, I realized that social media and this online tools that we have allow people to do something that I call pre-networking, right? We're going to meet at an event, or I'm going to go to an event and there's going to be people there that I know or don't know. But before that, if someone is coming that's brand new, me as the organizer or a few key people that can look at a list and figure out, okay, this person's coming for the first time, this person has never come before, I decided to be a little proactive and reach out to these people and say, hey, you're coming to an event. We look forward to seeing you. We look forward to having you. If it helps, here's a couple people that you can connect with, and if you'd like them to reach out to you, because some people are shy to be the first to move. You know, I don't want to send someone a message, but I'll respond to a message if I get one.
Yeah.
These people can help, you know, have like maybe a quick 5, 10, 15-minute chat with you, trade some messages on social media, and you kind of break the ice. Social media kind of can help break the ice so that you've done pre-networking ahead of time. Hi, my name is this. I'm from here. You know, get those questions out of the way. And then when you get to the event, you kind of know them a little bit. And now a new person has connected with 1, 2, 3 people that are maybe a little bit more established. They act as the buddy system that we talked about. And now you can run with that. They can say, hey, this person is new. Come with me. I'm going to connect you to 2, 3 new people as well that you can now go from there.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. Like not a lot of people also have that skill. Not a lot of ambassadors have that ambassador skill, right? Like we're potentially, hey, like meet Sarwar. He's my friend, blah, blah, blah. Not everybody can do that.
You need to be like focused about that. And I'll use one really quick story. At the United Brunch event we had, there was a family, a newcomers from Gaza that
I wanted you to actually focus on that one. Thanks.
Yeah, I have multiple stories about every event and every person I meet, but to use that as an example and what we're talking about. And when they came, you know, it might have been their first event in Ottawa, first event in Canada. You know, there's some cultural things like, you know, maybe like when you come, are you supposed to say hi to everyone? Or if there's food here, can you just start eating? Do you wait for other people to eat, then you eat? You know, there's some social and cultural norms, you know, like as a new person, do you go and introduce yourself to people? Do you just wait for someone to say hi to you? Like, you're not sure. And a language barrier on top of all that.
Yeah.
Right, as a newcomer. So I went around and tapped a few people, and maybe you remember because you were one of them. And I said, you know, let's welcome
I
these
ended
people.
up meeting that lady at the bus stop, actually. Thank you so much for introducing her to me.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. But one of those people specifically that I remember, like with Ahmed, it was him, his wife, and they had a
Full family.
They had a full family. They had a bunch of kids with them. And I noticed the kids were just like being a little shy about starting to take the food because the parents hadn't started eating. You know, it's in our culture that maybe you wait for the parents to eat first, or maybe you get invited to the table to eat. You just don't start taking the food. The food was presented immaculately. You remember the spread? It was immaculate. Yeah. So I went to a lady named Noor because Noor speaks Arabic, and I didn't know if they spoke English that well because I hadn't talked to them that much. And I said, Noor, this family is new. Can you make sure that they don't have any questions if they need anything? And please, you know, make sure that they're enjoying the food. And she just, you know, took 5-10 minutes, and she's a very hospitable person, and she spent, you know, 5-10 minutes chatting with them, walked them over to the food table, you know, made some plates of food. And then, you know, once they started eating and chatting with people, then you could see like the whole
barrier just kind of came down,
their whole demeanor changed. It went from being kind of like this to being like, you know, like this, right? Like,
these are my people.
These are my people. Yeah.
And that's the thing, like one of the biggest things that I tell people about networking events is like, just, you know what, worst case scenario, just show up and say hello to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll introduce you to half the people. If it's not me, he's busy, but also say hi to him. And he'll find somebody to introduce you to. And introduce you to everybody there. The beauty about this is you got to come with one thing in mind. What's in it for the other people? Don't come in with what's in it for me, ever. If you come in with that in mind, you're going to leave disappointed. But if you come in with, I'm just going to go meet some good people and see what I can do to help them out, you're guaranteed to do a ton of business.
Yes.
Because like I said earlier, that quote rings through almost every day of every transaction I've ever done. And I call it transaction because they're still transaction, but they're relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about what you do. People only care when they see you care.
Agreed.
Simple.
And by all means, the different people have different goals. You know, there's some people that come to our events that don't even have a business. Like at the end of the day, they're not actually going to try to get a client or try to find a job. They have a great job. They don't have a business or they don't have something that they're trying to sell.
See it there for a good time.
Yeah. And as adults, sometimes it becomes tough to make new friends. You know, like when you're in school, when you're in different phases of your life, sometimes you're meeting people.
Good luck making friends after 40.
It gets tough, especially if you, let's say, have kids and they have activities. You get stuck in maybe a routine.
Mm-hmm.
Or let's say now we have a lot of people, they work virtual remote jobs. Let's say you work for a company and your position is remote. You might literally be at home all day long, right? And you might not have a lot of socializing in person available to you. And what I would say is whatever someone is looking for, if it's making friends, finding clients, finding a job, you know, finding a community, there's different things, supporting a good cause, because we have so many charities and people from charities that come to our events. These things all become available to you. And if you have any of those things and beyond that you're looking for, come with that open mind, come with wanting to help other people, and then see what happens. When good people connect, like, wow, the sky's the limit.
Exactly. It's a tough one here. I'm going to put you on the spot. For folks that are, thinking of coming to the next event or the event after that or any of the events that we're hosting, what are the top 5 to 10 questions they should ask?
Okay, when you come to an event, and it could be our event, it could be any event, and you're trying to start up a conversation with someone, it's always good to ask open-ended questions. Open-ended meaning it's not a yes or no answer. It's a question that the other person will give some kind of story.
Like, don't say, for example, do you like the event? Yes or no. It's going to end there. It's
right.
going to fall flat.
Yeah, like a yes or no is a question. If you ask a question that has a yes or no answer, it doesn't really allow for dialogue. Right? What you're trying to do when you're networking is ask open-ended questions which have answers that the person can elaborate on. And normally, I'm not going to give you 5 or 10 questions. Normally, what I like to do is the questions are customized based on the responses. So I'll give you an example. If we use our earlier conversation and I ask someone, where are you from? Right? That's an open-ended question. They can go into something and they can say, I am from this place. Let's say I am from, Hungary, and I moved to Ottawa 7 years ago, and now I live in Ottawa with my family. I now have a few different follow-up questions I can ask. I can say, what was life like in Hungary? That could be
question 3.
That could be one follow-up question. I could ask, how do you like Ottawa? You've been here for 7 years. I could ask, tell me more about your family. All because their question or their answer to my first question gave me these snippets. And that really engages the person because I'm not there as a robot, like, where are you from? They answer that question and it's like, what do you do? And then they answer that question and it's like, what school did you go? Like the conversation doesn't flow that way, right? The conversation is over here. I want to kind of make a conversation flow by asking something and then from that answer, picking something and then dive in.
Follow-up. The follow-up questions are always also good because then it shows a couple of things. One, that you care, you're listening, you're genuinely interested.
Mm-hmm.
And rightfully so, you should be genuinely interested. If you're not genuinely interested, you shouldn't be talking to the person. But the chances are, if you're genuinely interested in anybody that's at the event, they're going to reciprocate.
Mm.
And like we keep going back to that same point, people care when you care.
It's most likely going to happen when you ask someone a question and they answer. It's just a basic human response. They're going to then ask you that same question or a similar question. Like if I ask someone, where are you from? They give their answer. We have a little chat. At some point, they're going to say, well, where are you from? Right? Because they're curious. Like you've asked me some questions. I've had a chance to talk. it's a basic human response that now they'll engage in the same way. They'll ask, and now you'll really get to know the person, and they'll get to know you, and now you'll go somewhere. So to answer your previous question, I would have maybe 3, 4, 5 high-level open-ended questions as my starter.
Yeah.
And that might be like something I've prepared or something I know. Where are you from could be one of them.
Leave it up to the folks. Maybe they'll comment on some of the questions that they ask as well too.
Yeah. What brings you to this event?
Yeah. Where did you hear about this event?
Where did you hear about this event?
Who invited you to the event?
They're
How do you know them?
Tell me about your outfit. Tell me about something. Whatever it is. Then from there, I have those 3, 4 high-level starter questions, and then I listen attentively, listen closely, and then I kind of take it from there.
A while back, I think it was like one of my first events. I met a person there, and like the first thing that came to mind is like, wow, what a great outfit she was having on. And then, like the first question that was coming to my mind was, I want to know how you put this outfit together.
Yeah.
And she just started a conversation that went on for 15 minutes.
And I'm not surprised at all, because we have 6, 7, 8, 9 people in our group that are literally in fashion as a business, fashion as an industry, fashion influencers, right? Like we've talked about 1 or 2 of them already, but there's a bunch of people that work in fashion. Mm-hmm. So I'm not surprised that they're bringing that, to the event, or watches.
And that's the thing. I ended up getting tips on how to dress.
Yeah.
Just from getting to know the person.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as a bad question unless you're being a little bit, asking it with ill intent, I should say. Mm-hmm. But if you're asking a good question, and it's always an open-ended question with a when, where, what, how, that kind of stuff, you are going to open up the conversation. You're going to get people to talk to you. They're going to feel like their guard is down now that they're talking to you, and your guard is going to go down as well too. So it's easier for you to build that connection and have that conversation.
And that's probably the very core of networking, is asking questions, getting to know people, building a relationship, not being pushy or asking for something right away, especially if it's business or sales related. Ask, down the road, or let it come up organically. The question of what do you do, we've talked about earlier, not mentioning it early on, but it will come up. It doesn't have to be the first question or the first 3 questions, but maybe after you've had a chance to chat for a while, maybe it'll come up. Maybe it won't come up that meeting. Maybe it'll come up the next meeting. It's not a big deal.
But speaking on the next thing coming, what's the next thing coming for? I don't want to talk about the events because, the chances are this is going to come out and those events are going to be gone. Mm-hmm. But let's talk about, for example, the holiday party. You're thinking of something like that might be coming up in the next little bit. But also let's talk a little bit more about what do you have in mind for Beyond for the next 5 years?
Yeah, I would say we have a growing group, and in that group, we have created a couple of what I call marquee events. These events, they happen every year. These events are things that people look forward to. They're marquee, and the holiday party in December is one of them. The last couple of years, we've done like a Ramadan event where we do like give people a chance to see what Ramadan is about. We're fasting and breaking the fast together and things like that. Summer soiree, a little outdoor summer, patio type of event. And then we have other events that are more spontaneous. The axe throwing, the bowling, the mini putting, escape room, the brunch. Those events kind of come and go. I would say the plan is to continue what's working. You have a recipe and it's working. So you continue doing the marquee events. You continue doing the spontaneous smaller events. Continue to just broaden the audience. Yeah, we have a really, really interesting, diverse group of people that come. And as those people come in and they enjoy the events, they invite other people. The FOMO, the pictures, the social media, other people hear about it, other people come. And my goal for myself, which I think is reasonable for me because I'm here in Ottawa, is to make that impact as much as I can here in our community. This is my community. I want people to feel welcome and connect and support each other. Other people have actually taken bits of what Beyond Networking does. They don't maybe call it Beyond Networking, but they see what we're doing and they've told me that they're implementing it or trying to use it within their group or start a group in other cities. And there's nothing proprietary or secret about what we're doing. Everything we've talked about is pretty basic stuff, human decency stuff. And if other people get inspired, if other people want to build their community, by all means, we can, be a resource, be a support, share ideas, share feedback, share anything we can. And the more people that get into these types of environments and communities, the more welcome they'll feel. Like that last event, and we talked a little bit about Ahmed. He was the family, the newcomer from Gaza. I introduced him to Noor. At the end of the event, he said bye to me, salam, and he left. And he had his kids and they all left. And I thought, okay, it was really nice to meet him, and that's it. 5-6 minutes go by, and probably because he has kids, he's got to do the car seats and all that stuff. I know how that is. 5-6 minutes go by, he comes back, and I see him coming through the window that he's coming in, and I'm like, oh, he must have forgot something. He comes in, he gives me a hug, and he said, I forgot to give you something. And I'm like, what's Ahmed going to give me? He literally arrived in Canada recently, weeks ago.
Yeah.
What's he going to give me? He gives me a big hug. He gives me this little bracelet, and he just says, like, if you ever need anything, you call me. And I'm like, this guy just came to Canada and now, like, he's treating me like family or treating me like a really good friend. And I just was so moved.
Absolutely. I might be biased in saying this, but, like, it's a thing that Palestinians do, man. Like, we would literally, if all I'm wearing is one shirt, I would rip it in half and give you the other half. That's just the way we are.
And I loved it. I was touched, and I have lots of stories like that. That's just the most recent one, so I'm sharing it. And I didn't even know him before that event. Like I've never met this guy before. The fact that he is willing to come to an event with his family and not know what to expect, right? Like he could go there and be completely annoyed or upset about what's happening. But that lady, the coordinator person of the newcomers, she gave him a push. She told him to come, and it was amazing.
Yeah. There's so much that we can do and talk about when it comes to beyond networking and, like, just hanging out with you. It's always like we're all over the place. We're talking about everything.
Yes.
And literally everything.
Yes.
With that being said, what I want to do is I want to invite the audience to just tune in and, like, really look into other events that are coming. Beyond is one of those places where everybody's welcome. You feel so diverse, so easygoing. There's no, I've never felt at home more than I have at those events, with all honesty.
I love it.
It's just everybody is friendly. Everybody just wants to chip in, help you out. Nobody's out there with a weird goal in mind. Everybody's out there with, let's just do what we can to help the community and try to raise everybody up equally, because when the tide comes, all ship rise. With that being said, Sarwar, thank you so much for being a part of this podcast and being on the show and being one of my great friends. Really appreciate it, man. Genuinely. Thank you guys that you're listening. And please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, so you can get more and more episodes coming up like this. Now it's season 2, and there's so many different people that we're going to be bringing on the show, businesses that we sometimes meet at Beyond, and sometimes we meet outside of Beyond, that we would love to bring on the show and just kind of share their story with you and the audience in Ottawa. And for everybody out there, don't forget, subscribe to Beyond as well, too, and come to their events. You're going to learn something. You're going to find something. You're guaranteed going to come out with a few friends at the end of the day. Thanks again.